Hello everyone. I've been watching more videos today regarding what they call the super soldiers. And this one woman who was a super soldier mentioned about her former husband who had passed away, was murdered. And she related a story that her husband allegedly was, after they killed her, someone had killed her husband, some government official of some sort. And they were able to gather and trap the person's soul. So the body dies, and they're able to retrieve the soul and keep it in some type of container. Sounds absolutely wild to hear something like that. But my listening to the other super soldier programs, well, not program, but interviews, they seem to talk about similar type of devices, something that is able to, to take away the person's soul, and then sometimes they're able to even clone the body, and then put the person's soul in the other clone body. And when they're finished using the clone, they take that original soul and put it back into the original body and able to time regress them and then send them back at the time period where they were abducted from. Now that made me think of something. Like I was walking in the city and I saw this poster of this genie man, and it's a a poster of a very big black male, and it has the makeup on and everything. And I know I've seen in the media this archetype of a male genie, but I noticed the genie is always really big. I remember the show I Dream of Jeannie, and the the genie that like the, the the woman had a father and or uncle, and it was a really big guy. And so I noticed that in Hollywood or media, if it's a male genie, that the figure, the guy is very big boned. Now I think the story about Aladdin, the that type of theme, I think it comes from the Middle East. I'm not sure whether it actually comes from Saudi Arabia, but in the Arabia Peninsula, they use black males as like warriors and individuals to take care of what they call harems. This is like a holding, I don't know, a place where they keep the females, and I think these females are used for, um, men's delights. It's like I guess, I don't want to say a brothel, but um, they're just there for other, other men's needs, so-called needs. But either way, now notice that even though they show a very big muscular man or a black man, but he's often castrated. So I'm wondering how, if a person is castrated, how are they able to maintain the muscles and everything? I'm kind of getting off the track, but it's just something that got in my mind. But in tying in about the male genie and the super soldiers and the able to abstract the person's soul. Now, you notice like with the genie bottle in the media that it was something that you rub and then it comes out. And the genie says, in Hollywood it says, your wish is my command. So the person is in essence a slave. So isn't this a type of device a soul capture device that, and again, this genie bottle, it's always something that you have to rub. What happens when you rub on something? You're generating heat. Heat is a form of energy, and then it is released, and the person's soul, and they're at your whim, and they don't really have power to be able to come in and out when they want to. So isn't this a type of, as I said, a capture of the person's essence? And again, they often show that it's a male, a big black person, aka slave, and you rub on the bottle, and then he has to oblige to your need. So he's not so much like a zombie because he's alive, but he doesn't have free will. But the person who possesses the bottle. So I'm wondering if this bottle is able to capture, maybe this genie should break this container. But I think why I'm mentioning this story about the genie in the bottle, Aladdin and Hollywood, and the new subject that I'm learning about, the super soldiers, that I think they're all related. That with these super soldiers, I've been hearing that they are kidnapping people from this planet and putting them in underground bases, or putting them in, on the moon or Mars and other places, and that they're trading human lives for technology. And that is what I find interesting. That that here, that, as they say, as above, so below. That's something it seems like you can't avoid. You can't seem to avoid this uh, monetary system of money, capitalism, and the exploitation of lives, and that they're actually taking children as well, and women that are being sold for what you call sex slaves. And it's awful, and it's not even like a joke. It sounds like a sick joke that I'm talking about. But hearing more and more about this subject, about super soldiers, you know, maybe they should have called them that name, but because these people are being abducted and forced into this lifestyle, and that's awful. You've heard in the past in the Americas about the slave trade and the evils behind it, and then to find out that it's possibly still continuing, but outside and underground bases. It's just too many people that are being missing in this country. Hundreds of thousands of people, men, women, and children. Where are they? The atrocities that I'm learning about, what's happening to some of the people. And so I guess I'm sharing this for awareness, to let other people know that things like this could be actually happening. Again, I don't know anyone personally who's been through this, but again, many things that people learn about is not experiential, but it's through word of mouth. That someone said, hey, this happened to me, or I saw this happen before. So again, a lot of things we say that we believe in is based on what people tell them or what they've read, rather than something they've witnessed. But with all these things happening in the world, people being missing, and I did see my first, it's called the TR-3Bs. Those are the planes that's in the shape of a triangle. And I saw it about 2 months ago. It was flying south over Manhattan Island in New York City. So it's telling, like, I I'm not sure whether I would have believed it, if I didn't see that type of plane, but I saw with my own eyes. And so all these things that are like um, just a fantasy, someone's fantasy, I'm starting to really believe in these stories, and that they're not just stories. There's a lot of just, it seems like the world is just crying out for help. And I don't understand this obsession of the exploitation of labor. And even New York City, the companies that I've worked for, or when you go to a business, to business, just how people are living. It's like they work for a check, and otherwise they wouldn't want to be there. So it's almost like that's a form of slavery, when you're doing something you really hate and you feel forced into it, and you're really not making the money that you feel that you might need. So I share this for just for awareness, and to really document, as I'm on my spirit journey, on about reality, those things that we generally don't hear about in the media, but we are learning about through alternative media via, in my case, YouTube. Again, I know not everything is true on YouTube, but it seems to be a consensus that people are having experiences that is abusive, and they're not getting paid for the things that they're doing. So it's slavery. And the kidnapping of people and the abductions through, some people say, portals, that there's devices that, they don't have to physically land here on a spacecraft, but they have devices that are able to, like, I guess like in Star Trek, that they don't actually physically land down, the spacecraft, but this machine that brings them down below. So again, like, if you're able to visually conceive something, you could probably create it. And so the Star Trek and the things that they show, I think those are things that they learned about, and so they put it in story form in a movie, but it's something that really does exist. That's my opinion. So, feel free to, comment on this subject about the super soldiers, the human trafficking that uh, is happening, throughout the world, and share. And you can subscribe and like my channel. And if you like the content of my channel, please feel free to PayPal me, and that link is on my channel on the top part of the banner, and you just click on the icon for PayPal me, and you just follow the instructions. So thank you for listening, and you have a good weekend. Bye bye.